Am I the a-hole for not letting my autistic Bill hold my newborn? My fiancé, 24M, and I, 19F, had our first baby last week. He was born healthy, but giving birth was very traumatic and hard on me mentally/physically. I had an emergency C-section after being in labor for 3 days. I still feel extremely foggy and out of touch with reality. I only wanted my fiancé's parents present to meet the baby in the hospital. The rest were welcome to FaceTime us, but they would have to wait to see our son after we'd gone home and had time to adjust to having a newborn. I'm not close with my family because I left home at 18 to escape their abuse. Almost none of them are allowed contact with my child because of the way they treated me and my siblings. My fiancé's family are a very close-knit group, and all of them have been very kind and welcoming to me up until this point. I wouldn't be marrying in if they weren't. The only one I've had issues with is my fiancé's brother, 30M, who has autism. He makes a lot of offhand comments and jabs that get passed off as dark humor. When my in-laws got there, they brought my fiancé's older brother who they care for and let live with them. He's diagnosed with autism but does not have any severe disabilities. I wasn't happy that they'd brought him against my wishes, but I didn't say anything after everything I'd gone through. My fiancé's brother was adamant about holding our son. He was loud, had an attitude, and smelled terrible. His clothes were dirty and his hair was covered in grease. It was like he hadn't showered in weeks. Again, I didn't comment on his hygiene, but I tried to preface that I didn't want anyone holding the baby right now except my in-laws. I was as kind as possible. My in-laws told me that he didn't mean any harm and that he could wash his hands. I told them no again, and my fiancé backed me up when they didn't calm down. My Phil-law took his son home and my mill stayed and apologized, but my fiancé's brother is apparently deeply hurt and texted my fiancé to tell him not to marry me because I'm driving them apart and a bitch who wants to keep him from his nephew. I'd like to preface that my fiancé himself has confirmed that his brother was not always this limited, and was fairly normal until high school when he seemed to start to play up his diagnosis for sympathy. He hasn't worked a day in his life and lives off of his parents. He does not shower or even bother to apply deodorant before leaving the house. He would literally live in the same clothes for months if not for his mom doing his laundry. I have no ill will for people with autism or disabilities. My youngest brother had Down syndrome and cared for him as an identified child. My issue is solely with my brother-in-law. AITA for laughing and asking my mom what she expected to happen when she had my thief sister and her scumbag family over for Thanksgiving. My F29 sister, 37, is a drug addict and a thief. She has not gone to jail because she mostly steals from family and friends. Her husband is also a dirtbag and their 2 kids are headed the same way. I will not allow them in my house. I will only meet with them in public. I always bring just enough cash to pay my bill if we eat together and don't bring anything else. I don't know why she is this way. Both my brother, 33, and myself have turned out okay. We have educations and careers. We have stable relationships. We are reasonably well-behaved adults and our kids are a pretty good bunch. My sister just never grew up. She hated rules. She hated that my parents got her to watch me when I was young. She moved out when she was 18, took her education savings account and spent it traveling around. I was going to host Thanksgiving this year and my mom mentioned that my sister and her family would be in town. They have not visited for 4 years. She asked me to include them. Hard no. I said that wasn't going to happen. So my mom said she wanted her whole family together so her and my dad would host. Well, she just called me. A bunch of stuff is missing from her house. Jewelry, sports memorabilia, knickknacks. Stuff that would be easy to sell on eBay. Or Pwan. I snorted and asked her if she remembered why I do not allow my sister in my house. She said that when I allowed her to stay with me she stole cash from me and her kids stole my stepson's video game. I asked her why she thought they wouldn't steal from her. She said that I'm being cruel to rub it in when all she wanted was family time. Am I the a-hole for slut-shaming a slut-shamer? I, 19F, am not sexually active by choice. Not for any moral reason, I just want to focus on uni without extra complications and I'd rather my first be with someone I care about and feel completely comfortable with. Guys get weird about it when sex comes up. Either they fetishize it, turn it into a challenge, or lose interest. The guys that get all excited about a 0 body count are the worst and it's my #1 dating pet peeve. There is a guy we'll call Bob that hangs around my friend group because he's one of the other guys' roommate. Bob has good moments, but he acts like a major douche canoe when dating or sex comes up. Brags about sleeping with a lot of girls, but also looks down on them for being loose. I try to avoid Bob. Anyway, Bob asked me out before Thanksgiving break. Like 2 days before that, I heard him talking to one of the guys about a girl he went on a date with and he said he hit it and quit it because he doesn't date sluts. So when Bob asked me out, I said no thanks. He pressed for a reason and I told him that I heard him talk about all his hookups and I don't date sluts. You should have seen the look on his face. He said it wasn't really that many and he was exaggerating a little. I'm wife material so he's not looking to hook up. I said if his body count was over 0 he was too easy to be husband material. Bob lost his shit about it and the friend group is split. Some think it's hilarious and Bob got a taste of his own medicine, others think it was wrong to slut-shame him even if he is kind of a bellend. Am I the a-hole for canceling my daughter's birthday celebration? It was my daughter Rachel's, 11F, birthday yesterday. I have another child, Ethan, 10M, who's adopted. Rachel insists that he's not a proper member of family as he's not related to us. My wife Emily and I had attempted to convince her, although it was mostly I who did, but it had not worked so we gave it up. We had planned to have lunch at a restaurant and we took the car. Ethan wanted to sit in front, but Rachel told him sorry, but only proper members of the family get to sit in front, and you're not really their child. He was shocked, and I asked her to take back what she had said, but my wife asked me to not start an argument as it was her birthday. Ethan did sit back with Emily in the back, and so I did not argue. We went to the restaurant, and she wanted an expensive dish. I ordered it, and Ethan said that he wants the same stuff. But Rachel did not like that, she said. You want an expensive dish when he's not even your dad in reality? I'd have thought you'd be more grateful as your parents are dead and you're adopted now. I asked her to apologize immediately as I could see that it had really hurt him, but she just shrugged and said, well, if you want to have it, go ahead. I don't care anyway. But I told her you are going to care because your birthday's cancelled. We're headed back. I asked them to head back to the car and she yelled at me and said she was just joking, that I cannot do that, etc. We had a really huge argument but in the end I got them back to the car. My wife says that although what she said was distasteful, canceling her birthday was extremely uncalled for and she's mad at me for having ruined her day completely. Am I the a-hole for refusing to make my daughter issue an apology to the class clown and telling the mother her daughter is a brat? My daughter, Ava 14, is a good kid in general. She gets good grades and is pretty quiet at school, sticking to her friend group and not causing issue. I was surprised getting a call today that I needed to pick her up since she got in trouble at school. Basically what happened was the class clown, Mia, was messing around in class, was dancing/singing during class for no reason. My daughter had enough and told her to shut the fuck up. No one likes her and she is the reason no one enjoys school. A student recorded the whole thing. Mia ended up crying in principal office. They were both sent. The principal wanted my daughter to give an apology to her. I told them no and that we are leaving. This started the mom telling me her daughter needs an apology. I told her that her kid is a brat and she should learn how to behave in class. That if she wasn't annoying as all hell my daughter wouldn't have snapped after 5 months. She called me a jerk and my daughter as if she should apologize, so I am making this